Welcome to the Non-Wing Worldwide Podcast, hosted by Drake York.
We go to the infield to Drake York.
Thanks for watching.
This is the Non-Wing Worldwide Podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 5 of Non-Wing Worldwide. I'm your host, Drake York. Thank you so much for joining us. We did have a guest planned for today, but unfortunately, throughout the craziness of Midget Week, we were not able to get that interview done today. But we will still have your racing roundup and race results as normal, so let's go to that. Let's now get into our racing roundup segment, starting off with Kevin Thomas Jr. and Michael Dutcher Motorsports parting ways just before the Corn Belt Clash at the Knoxville Raceway. But we did see KT in action with Mount Stout during Indiana Midget Week. Nothing has been announced at this time about his future sprint car plans. In series news, the Ontario Traditional Sprints have postponed their show for this weekend at Southern Ontario Raceway, but they'll be back on July 8th. In non-wing worldwide news, however, we got a couple of things to talk about with the podcast. We've added a couple new series and even a new racetrack. The new track we've added is Southern Iowa Speedway in Oskaloosa with their local weekly sprint cars, and a couple of series we have added and are looking to continue to add. Still working on adding a couple of more, but the new series we have on the show this week and will continue to feature the Rush Sprint Car Series, the Upper Midwest Renegades, the Northern Renegade Sprint Series, and the Western Renegade Sprint Series. And the last thing we have in the Racing Roundup segment, we recently got some non-wing worldwide stickers done, and they'll be for sale all Indiana Midget Week long in the USAC merchandise trailer. Let's now get into our race results segment from this past weekend from all over the globe. And just a reminder for our fans on the order of how we'll go through results on this show. We'll start with the National Series, then go to the Regional Series, and then the local tracks, in the order of 410 non-wing sprint cars, 360 sprint cars, midgets, D2 midgets, Focus midgets, spec sprints, Ecotech midgets, crate sprints, and 305 sprints. So with that being said, we'll start off with the Amsoil USAC National Sprint Car Series as they were at the Knoxville Raceway in Knoxville, Iowa for the Corn Belt Clash on Saturday. Jake Swanson, with a last lap pass on Brady Bacon, is able to score the big win. Jake seemingly came out of nowhere towards the end of that race and managed to pick up the win with, once again, a thrilling last lap pass. Brady Bacon led all but one lap. He'll have to settle for second. Mitchell Moles round out the podium. Last week's guest, CJ Leary, ran 4th. Emerson Axon was 5th. Matt Westfall was 6th. 7th went to Chase Johnson. 8th for Justin Zimmerman. Really good run for Justin. 9th went to Dason Persley, and 10th went to Riley Kreisel. Your heat winners on the evening, Mitchell Moles, Carson Garrett, CJ Leary, and Wesley Smith. On Sunday, the NOS Energy Drink USAC National Midget Series would kick off Indiana Midget Week at the Tri-State Speedway in Hobstadt, Indiana. And it'd be Jacob Denney picking up his 3rd career NOS Energy Drink USAC National Midget win, and 2nd in Indiana Midget Week. Buddy Kofoid would finish 2nd. Kyle Cummins 3rd. Chase McDermott would finish 4th. Logan Seavey running out the top 5. Jake Andriotti 6th. 7th, Cannon McIntosh. He started 23rd on the field with the provisional, drove all the way up to 7th. Jade Apodizian was 8th. 9th went to Zach Daum, and 10th, Gavin Miller. Dason Persley, Justin Grant, and Kyle Cummins, heat winners on the evening. And then last night at the Circle City Raceway, the NOS Energy Drink USAC National Midgets would continue Indiana Midget Week with defending Midget Week champion Buddy Kofoid getting the win over Jacob Denney, Bryant Wiedemann, Teener Thorson, Emerson Axum, the top 5. Cannon McIntosh was 6th, Taylor Reimer 7th, 8th went to Apodizian after a hard crash in her heat race. Justin Grant was 9th, and 10th rounded out Kevin Thomas Jr. Dason Persley, Cannon McIntosh, and Logan Seavey, all heat winners. The Xtreme Outlaw Midget Series presented by Toyota had quite the busy week, and they started off on Thursday at the Tri-City Speedway in Granite City, Illinois, with Jesse Love. Yes, the ARCA driver Jesse Love currently leads the ARCA Menards standings. He would pick up the win driving for Chad Boat. Cannon McIntosh was 2nd, Landon Brooks in 3rd in the 2X. Chase McDermott 4th, Zach Daum rounded out the top 5. Gavin Miller, Hayden Reinbold, Brannigan Rourke, Jade Apodizian, and Chance Crum rounded out your top 10. McIntosh, Persley, and Apodizian, heat winners. On Friday night, the Xtreme Outlaw Midget Series presented by Toyota would venture over to the Wayne County Speedway in Wayne City, Illinois, where it'd be Zach Daum picking up the win over Shane Cottle, who made a great late race charge in a 2nd. Gavin Miller rounded out the podium in 3rd. Gavin Boschel would finish 4th, Chance Crum 5th, McIntosh 6th, Taylor Reimer 7th, 8th was Chase Briscoe, 9th was Kevin Thomas Jr., and 10th, Jade Apodizian. Zach Daum, Hayden Reinbold, and Jade Apodizian, heat winners on the evening on Friday at Wayne County. The Xtreme Outlaw Midget Series presented by Toyota would be back at the Wayne County Speedway in Wayne City, Illinois on Saturday, where it'd be yet again Zach Daum picking up another win in the 7U. Gavin Miller, 2 podium finishes on the weekend for him with the Xtreme. He would finish second. Cannon McIntosh, the podium. Gavin Boschel was fourth. Cooper Williams was fifth. Chase Briscoe was sixth. Seventh, Carter Sarif. Eighth, Kevin Thomas Jr. Ninth, Chase McDermott. And 10th went to Lana Brooks. Gavin Miller, Cannon McIntosh, and Zach Daum, all heat winners on the evening. Let's now get into our regional racing action in the United States from this past week, and we'll start off with the MSCS Sprint Cars as they were at the Tri-State Speedway in Hobbs, Indiana, along with the Knoxville Energy Drink USAC National Midgets. We talked about that earlier. But in the sprint car, it'd be Carson Garrett getting the win over Jen Rogers and Kendall Rubel. J.J. Hughes was fourth, Eric Gentry fifth, Rylan Gray was sixth, seventh, Critter Malone eighth, Donnie Brackett ninth, Dustin Beck, and 10th went to Chase Stockin. Jason Persley, Jaden Rogers, and Carson Garrett heat winners on the evening with MSCS. On Friday, the Great Lakes Traditional Sprints presented by Perfect were at the Lima Land Motorsports Park in Lima, Ohio. Team as Thomas Meserol would get the win in the 23K. Ripon Ricky Lewis was second. Lee Underwood was third. Dustin Engel fourth. Jackson Sloan fifth. Dallas Hewitt sixth. Steve Irwin seventh. Gage Etkin eighth. Ninth, Larry King C. Jr., and rounding out the top 10 was Ryan Barr. Jackson Sloan and Lee Underwood, your two heat winners on the evening at Lima Land. The ASCS Elite North non-wing sprints had a tough weekend as they got rained out at the I-76 Speedway in Fort Morgan, Colorado. Who didn't get rained out, however, was the USAC West Coast Sprint Car Series. They raced on Saturday at the Bakersfield Speedway in Bakersfield, California, where it'd be Ryan Timmons picking up the win over Ron LaPlante and Tanner Bull. Chris Ennis, Kyle Edwards, Tyler Hazikian, Adam Christian, John DeWeese, James Herrera, and Tom Hendricks round out the top 10. Bull, Edwards, and Brody Fusion heat winners on the evening with USAC West Coast. And on the opposite coast, the USAC East Coast Sprint Car Series raced Friday at the Williams Grove Speedway, Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Alex Bright hopped in the Hefner 27 for the first time and got the win over Chris Allen Jr. Briggs Danner rounded out the podium in third. And as Bruce Buckwalter, Stephen Jervicki, Joey Mantia, Carmen Perigo, JT Ferry, Dalton Herrick, and David Swans in the top 10. Briggs Danner, Christian Bruno, and Mike Thompson heat winners on the evening with USAC East Coast at the Williams Grove Speedway. On Saturday, the POWRi New Mexico Motor Racing Association was at the Sandia Speedway in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where it'd be J.R. Bonesteel getting the win in the zero over Caleb Says, and Travis Oldfield rounded out the podium. Robert Marfaria, Theo McCarthy, the top 5, Craig Stingfellow, Michael Finelli, Derek Black, Spencer Hill, and Caleb Stelzig, the top 10. Bonesteel and Michael Finelli heat winners on the evening at Sandia. The USAC Midwest Thunder Speed 2 Midgets had a doubleheader weekend. They would start off Friday at the Moeller Raceway Park in Williamsburg, Ohio, where it'd be Bryce Massengill picking up the win over Zach Weigel, Matt Lux, Stratton Briggs, Josh Yenser, the top 5. Cale Coons would finish 6th. Eden Krager 7th. Logan Prickett was 8th. Tyler Nelson 9th, and Jacob Boxell was 10th. Massengill, Krager, and Briggs all heat winners on the evening. And on Saturday, they would venture over to the Atomic Speedway in Chillicothe, Ohio, where it'd be Bryce Massengill sweeping the weekend, picking up the win on Saturday as well over Josh Yenser, Zach Weigel, Jacob Boxell, and Briggs rounding out the top 5. Bryce Dews would finish 6th. Gunnar Lucius would finish 7th. 8th went to Luke Lemons, 9th Ian Krager, and 10th went to Kayla Rail. Weigel, Boxell, and Josh Yenser heat winners on the evening at Atomic. And in more D2 midget racing action, the POWRi Illinois Midget Racing Association was at the Spoon River Speedway in Canton, Illinois on Saturday. It was Manny Rockhold picking up the win in the 57, Shane Morgan second, and Ruben Haslett rounded out the podium. Dave Witholder, Russell Johnston, Michael Herminski, Jim Picard rounded out the field. Shane Morgan won the one and only heat race on the night. On Sunday, the Badger Midget Auto Racing Association was at the Angel Park Speedway in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, their home base, and it'd be Brandon Walty with the win in the 3W. Kobe Weinzel was second, Kyle Stark third, Matt Recheck was fourth, Parker Jones rounded out the top 5, Adam Taylor was sixth, Mike Strunk seventh, Derek Doer was 8th, 9th went to Dalton England, and 10th went to Rodney Gardner. Brandon Walty and Kyle Stark, as well as Adam Taylor, the 3 heat winners on the evening at Angel Park. In pavement midget racing action, the USAC Rocky Mountain Radical Focus Midgets were at the Magic Valley Speedway in Twin Falls, Idaho. It would be Devin Westover picking up the win over River Merrill, Cheyenne Merrill, Anthony Quintana, and AJ Lutmer. The field River Merrill would pick up the win in the one and only heat on the evening. We talked about the Badger Midget Auto Racing Association being at the Angel Park Speedway on Sunday. Well, joining them was the Autometer Wisconsin Wingless Sprint Series. Ryan Marshall in the 7X was your winner. Davey Ray, one of the best to ever do it at Angel Park, would have to settle for second, the 14 AJ. Tim Cox third. Clayton Rossman was fourth, and Jimmy Siva was fifth. Josh Fail was 6th. 7th went to Rusty Egan. 8th went to Jake Kuba. 9th, Dennis Spitz. And 10th went to Chris Clemo. Alan Hafford, Ryan Zelski, and Davey Ray, your 3 heat winners on the evening at Angel Park. You heard us talk about the Upper Midwest Renegade Traditional Sprint Car Series being one of our new series, I should say, here on Non-Wing Worldwide. They were in action on Saturday at the Cedar Lake Speedway in New Richmond, Wisconsin. Cam Schaefer would get the win, the 54 over Nick Duranko. Scott Brand, 4th was Zach Wids. 5th went to Eric Bjorklund. Jory Hughes was 6th. Brian Roach 7th. 8th went to Brad Cunningham. 9th went to Lucas Long, and 10th went to Ryan Buck. Jake Kuba and Cam Schaefer, your 2 heat winners on the evening at Cedar Lake. Let's now get into local racing action in the United States from this past week, starting off at the Bloomington Speedway in Bloomington, Indiana. Braden Fox in the Fox 53 would pick up the win over Jaden Rogers and Nick Bilby. The podium, Ty Mahako would finish 4th. Harley Burns 5th. Brent Beauchamp 6th. Jordan Kinzer 7th. 8th, Braxton Cummings. 9th, Zach Pretorius. And 10th, Gabriel Gilbert. Brent Beauchamp, Jeff Ensign, and Nick Bilby heat winners on the evening Friday at Bloomington. On Saturday, the Lincoln Park Speedway in Putnamville, Indiana would be in action with the bold Ty Mahako picking up the win in the 24P. Jaden Rogers 2nd yet again, and Brandon Maddox would finish 3rd. Seth Parker 4th. Braden Fox, after winning at Bloomington, would round out the top 5. Jordan Kinzer was 6th. Brent Beauchamp 7th. Harley Burns 8th. 9th, Alex Sipes, and 10th, Brandon Spencer. Frankie Guarini won Heat 1. Seth Parker won Heat 2. Jaden Rogers won Heat 3. And Brent Beauchamp won Heat 4 at Lincoln Park. For our last race from this past week in the United States, we'll go to the Petaluma Speedway in Petaluma, California for their weekly wingless spec sprints. The track did not provide the entire top 10, but we do know David Lint won, so congratulations to David Lint. That's all the racing we had in the United States from this past weekend. It was a somber weekend down under in Australia, as it would be the last ever race at the Archerfield Speedway in Assia Ridge, Queensland, Australia. But they would go out with a bang, a 50-lap speed car race to cap off the history at such an amazing racetrack. Michael Pickens would pick up the win over Troy Ware. Scott Farmer, Caden Brown, Rusty Whitaker, the top 5. Michael Kendall, Charlie Brown, Dylan Menz, Matt Gehring, and Brad Dawson, the top 10. That was our only international race from this past weekend. That will conclude our race results segment here on Non-Wing Worldwide. Here's your upcoming racing schedule for this week all over the globe when it comes to non-wing sprint car and midget racing. We are recording on Tuesday, June the 6th, so on Wednesday, June the 7th, the NOS Energy Drink USAC National Midgets will be in action at the Gas City I-69 Speedway in Gas City, Indiana. Non-wing local 410s in action, as well as is tradition for most of the places during Indiana Midget Week. The Southern Iowa Raceway in Oskaloosa, Iowa also has local non-wing 410 sprint cars. On Thursday, the Lincoln Park Speedway in Putnamville, Indiana, will play host to another night of Indiana Midget Week with an NOS Energy Drink USAC National Midgets. Their local non-wing 410s are in action as well. Grand Rapids Speedway in Grand Rapids, Minnesota has the Northern Renegade Sprint Car Series on Thursday. On Friday, the Bloomington Speedway in Bloomington, Indiana will host the NOS Energy Drink USAC National Midgets for that round of Indiana Midget Week. Their local non-wing 410s are in action as well. The Hartford Speedway in Hartford, Michigan has the Great Lakes Traditional Sprints. Bedford Speedway in Bedford, Pennsylvania will host the USAC East Coast Sprint Cars. Aztec Speedway in Aztec, New Mexico has the New Mexico Motor Racing Association Sprint Cars. Lincoln Speedway in Lincoln, Illinois has the Badger Mara Midgets. Circle City Raceway in Indianapolis, Indiana has the All-Star Circuit of Champions TQ Midgets. Ocean Speedway in Watsonville, California has the Western Midget Racing Series. And Antioch Speedway in Antioch, California has wingless spec sprints. On Saturday, the Lawrenceburg Speedway in Lawrenceburg, Indiana will host the penultimate round of Indiana Midget Week for the NOS Energy Drink USAC National Midgets, along with their local 410 sprint cars. The Belleville Short Track in Belleville, Kansas has the USAC Midwest Wingless Racing Association. The Paris Auto Speedway in Paris, California has the USAC CRA Sprints. In addition to that, the Pass Senior Sprints and the Pass Young Gun Sprints will be in action as well. Circle City Raceway in Indianapolis, Indiana in action again on Saturday with the MSCS Sprint Cars and another round with the All-Star Circuit of Champions TQ Midgets. Mercer Raceway Park in Mercer, Pennsylvania will have the Boss Sprint Cars. Berlin Raceway in Berlin, Michigan will have the 500 Sprint Tour along with the USSA Midgets. El Paso County Raceway in Callahan, Colorado has the ASC Elite Non-Wing North. Aztec Speedway in Aztec, New Mexico has the POWRi New Mexico Motor Racing Association Sprint Cars. Ventura Raceway in Ventura, California will host the USAC Western States Midgets. Spoon River Speedway in Canton, Illinois will have the POWRi Illinois Midget Racing Association D2 Midgets. Sycamore Speedway in Sycamore, Illinois will have the Badger D2 midgets along with the Badger Mara midgets in a co-sanctioned show. Marysville Raceway in Marysville, California will have the Hunt Magnetos Wingless Tour. Petaluma Speedway in Petaluma, California will have the Western Midget Racing Series as they wrap up a doubleheader weekend. Wilmont Raceway in Wilmont, Wisconsin will have the Wisconsin Wingless Series. Lincoln Park Speedway in Putnamville, Indiana will have local non-wing 410 action. Central Arizona Speedway in Casa Grande, Arizona has the ASCS Arizona non-wing sprint cars. And to round out the racing action on Saturday, the Pittsburgh Motor Speedway in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania has the Rush Sprint Series. On Sunday, June 11th, the Kokomo Speedway in Kokomo, Indiana will have the final round of Indiana Midget Week along with local non-wing 410 sprint cars. Knox Raceway in Knox, Pennsylvania has the Boss Sprint Car Series. Angel Park Speedway in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin will have the Badger D2 Midgets. Bemidji Speedway in Grand Rapids, Minnesota will have the Northern Renegade Sprint Car Series. No racing on Monday, but Tuesdays when things fire back off at the Grandview Speedway in Bechtelsville, Pennsylvania for the Amsoil USAC National Sprint Car Series to kick off Eastern Storm. Shelby County Fairgrounds in Shelbyville, Indiana will have the All-Star Circuit of Champions TQ Midgets. And Sharon Speedway in Hartford, Ohio will have the Rush Sprint Series. And to round out our upcoming racing action, we'll go to the Bridgeport Motorsports Park on Wednesday, June the 14th in Swedesboro, New Jersey with the Amsoil USAC National Sprint Cars as they have night number 2 of Eastern Storm. That is your upcoming non-wing sprint car and midget schedule from all over the globe here on Non-Wing Worldwide. That's all we have for you today on Non-Wing Worldwide. Bit of a lighter episode. We did have a guest planned for today, but unfortunately through the craziness of Midget Week, they weren't able to join us. So that's a bit of a bummer, but nonetheless, we got another episode in the books during Indiana Midget Week. And thank you so much for joining us. I'm Drake York, and we'll see you on the next episode.